Yes, dear children, let me tell you the answers for the questions that I gave you today. Why should curd and sour substances not be kept in brass and copper vessels? You know very well that brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. So curd and sour substances, they contain organic acids. Okay, so they can react with these metals to form salts, and these salts may be poisonous. That is why you are not supposed to keep curd or sour substances in brass and copper vessels. The food becomes unfit for consumption. Okay, so you cannot eat. That is why you should not keep. Then the next question I gave you, why do HCl, HNO3 show acidic character in aqueous solution while an aqueous solution of glucose and alcohol or sucrose do not show acidic character? Now what is the answer for this? Now HCl, HNO3, they show acidic character in aqueous solution because they ionize to produce H plus ions in water. Okay, so if any solution is giving H plus ion in water, then it is acidic in nature. Whereas this ethanol and glucose or sucrose, they do not show acidic character because they do not dissociate to produce H plus ions in aqueous solution. Okay, they do not ionize to produce H plus ions in aqueous solution. Why? Because they are covalent compounds. Because they are covalent compounds. Because they are covalent compounds, and covalent compounds do not ionize. Is it not? The ionic compounds only will dissociate in solution to produce ions, but covalent compounds will not ionize. So they will not show. Then next question I gave you, why does distilled water not conduct electricity whereas rainwater conducts? Right. Now distilled water is free of salts. Distilled water is free from salts. It does not contain any salt. It is pure water and it does not conduct electricity. Alright, okay? There are no ions, isn't it? If salts are there, then only it will be in the ionized form in water. Since it is devoid of all salts, distilled water is not having any ion, so it cannot conduct electricity. Whereas rainwater contains salts which dissociate into ions, which are in the form of ions in water. Therefore, rainwater conducts electricity, but distilled water does not. Then you have another question. Equal length of magnesium ribbon are taken in two different test tubes. In one you are taking hydrochloric acid and in the other you are taking acetic acid. Then in which test tube will the fizzing occur more vigorously and why? Now A contains hydrochloric acid and B contains acetic acid. Okay, and we have studied that hydrochloric acid is a strong acid and acetic acid is a weak acid. So fizzing will occur more vigorously where there is HCl, that is in test tube A. Fizzing will be more, that is the reaction will be vigorous because HCl is a strong acid. Whereas acetic acid is a weak acid, so hydrogen gas will be produced in A, right? In which test tube will the fizzing occur more vigorously? Fizzing is due to evolution of hydrogen gas. Okay, so hydrogen gas will be liberated in test tube A because HCl is a strong acid. So these are the answers for the questions that I gave you. Now let us do more questions. Why does dry HCl, why does it not change the color of dry litmus paper? Okay, dry HCl does not show litmus action. That is the question. Why it is not showing litmus action? Dry HCl does not change the color of dry litmus paper because dry HCl gas does not ionize to produce H plus ions, does not dissociate to produce H plus ions. In the absence of water, it cannot ionize. Okay? And since H plus ions are not there, which are responsible for acidic property, then there is no change in litmus paper also. No change in color of litmus paper also. Okay? So what are you supposed to write? Dry HCl does not dissociate to produce H plus ions in the absence of water. This is very, very important. Okay? Since H plus ions are not there, it will not show litmus action. That's it. Then, why diluting an acid? While diluting an acid, why we should add acid to water and not water to acid? This is again a very important question. We should always add acid to water. पानी रख के पानी में धीरे धीरे एसिड डाल सकते हो, पर एसिड में पानी नहीं डाल सकते. Why? See, this dilution itself is a highly exothermic process. And if water is added to concentrated acid, what will happen? The heat generated may cause the mixture to splash out, and it may fall on your skin if you're sitting by the side and cause burns. Okay? That is why acid should always be added to water very slowly with constant stirring, so that the heat generated is lost to the surroundings and there is no risk of acid splashing out. Got it? This is why we should always add acid to water and not water to acid. Okay. Now, how is the concentration of hydronium ions affected when a solution of an acid is diluted? What will happen? On dilution, what do? You add water. So when you add water, what will happen? The concentration of H plus ions per unit volume will decrease. The amount of water has increased. Say initially it was 10 ions present in 100 ml. Is that clear? And that 100 ml you are making it to say 200 ml. Okay? So what will happen? The same 10 H plus ions will now be present in 200 ml. Right? So what is happening? The concentration of H plus ions will decrease. Same way you can talk about in terms of OH minus also, right? Then, this question. These are all your NCERT questions only. Under what soil condition do you think a farmer would spread or treat the soil of his fields with quicklime? Quicklime means calcium oxide. Or slate lime. Slate lime means calcium hydroxide. Or chalk. Chalk is nothing but calcium carbonate. Now, it has been found that most plants grow best when the soil is nearly neutral. pH of the soil is close to 7. That means the plants grow very well. Now, if due to acid rain or otherwise the soil conditions, if it becomes acidic, then what the farmer does, he would spread or he would treat the soil with an adequate amount of quicklime or slaked lime, because quicklime or slaked lime is basic in nature, and because of acid rain the soil must have become acidic. So to neutralize that, quicklime or slaked lime or chalk is added, because they are all basic in nature and would neutralize the excess acid of the soil. Okay, that is why you add this.